Ladies and gentlemen, good day and welcome to the Petronet LNG Q1 FY21 earnings conference call hosted by Systematics Institutional Equities. As a reminder, all participants' lines will be in listen-only mode, and there will be an opportunity for you to ask questions after the presentation concludes. Should you need assistance during the conference call, please signal an operator by pressing star and 0 on your touchtone phone. Just note this conference is being recorded. I now hand the conference over to Mr. Varatharajan Sivasankaran from Systematics Institutional Equities. Thank you, and over to you, sir.
Thank you, Vikram. Good morning, everyone. On behalf of Systematics, I would like to extend a very warm welcome to all the participants and the management of Petronet to this 1Q FY21 results conference call. The management is being represented by Mr. V.K. Mishra, Director Finance, Mr. Rakesh Chawla, GGM and President F&A, Mr. Gyanendra Sharma, CGM and VP Marketing, Mr. Devaprata Satapathy, DGM F&A, Mr. Vivek Mittal, GM Marketing, and Mr. Ashwini Agarwal, Manager F&A. I would like to hand over the call to the management of Petronet now, and we can, after a briefing, we can move to Q&A. Over to you, sir.
So, this has been a very depressed period. As you all know that COVID-19 has marred all the business equally, and we are not an exception to it. Are you getting my voice now? It's okay?
So we can hear you.
Yeah. So it has been marred by this COVID-19 pandemic, and of course still we are able to recover the way we could have done within this quarter. And if you look at the kind of throughput which has been there in the Dahej, it was at the level of 181 TBTU as against 206 TBTU in the previous quarter and 217 TBTU in the corresponding quarter of the previous year. And if you look at the total throughput of Kochi and Dahej, it has been in the range of 190 TBTU in this quarter, current quarter, and 219 TBTU in the previous quarter and 226 in the corresponding quarter. So there has been somewhat depressed performance this time because of pandemic, and because demand was not there, it was very tepid as compared to previous quarter. So it has been down. But of course, we are still able to utilize Dahej terminal at the level of 81%, and as compared to 92% in the previous quarter and 112% in the corresponding quarter. So throughput has been quite good as compared to the kind of pandemic which has almost brought down the demand to a very low level. So this is the physical performance. If you look at the financial performance for this quarter, it has been 696 crores PBT for the period Q1 as compared to 486 crores in the previous quarter and 838 crore in the corresponding quarter of the previous year. And PAT has been 520 crore as compared to 359 crore in the previous quarter and 560 crore in the corresponding quarter of previous year. So if you look at the growth from the previous quarter, it has been to the extent of 43% in PBT and 45% in PAT. Of course, this growth is not because of any volume, but this is on account of Ind AS 116, which is there, and as you all know that there was a significant downward profit because of this Ind AS 116 in Q4 to the extent of 500 crores. So that is not there. So there has been a 170 crore benefit in this quarter. So this is basically because of that accounting standard that we have been able to show our performance better than previous quarter. And if you look at other reasons which has been there, it is because of the CSR expenses, because we had given 100 crores of donation to PM CARES Fund. So that was the basic reason why it has been a good performance as compared to previous quarter. But otherwise, volume-wise, it is less than previous quarter and also less than corresponding quarter. So this is the entire thing, because we are able to maintain our performance even against such a pandemic. This is commendable, because if you look at other businesses, they are drastically down in this quarter. But we are still able to utilize our terminal 81%. If you look at the overall utilization of both the terminals, it is almost 66%. So we are still at a better position as compared to other businesses. And we are improving slowly, so I want to assure you that in next quarter it will be a far, far better performance, because at present we are utilizing our plant at 104%, the Dahej plant, and Kochi is also being utilized at the level of almost 17-18%, maybe 20% sometimes. So this quarter will be better than this first quarter, because our throughput is very good as of now. So that's all from my side. Now I open the house for the questions. So you may ask now.
Thank you very much, sir. Ladies and gentlemen, we will now begin the question and answer session. Anyone who wishes to ask a question may press star and one on their touchtone telephone. If you wish to remove yourself from the question queue, you may press star and two. Participants are requested to use handsets while asking a question. Ladies and gentlemen, we will wait for a moment while the question queue assembles. To ask a question, please press star and one on your touchtone phone now. We have a first question from the line of Rohit Ahuja from Bob Capital Markets. Please go ahead.
Hi, sir. Thanks for the opportunity. Sir, just wanted to know, on Kochi, we were looking to revise our regas tariff lower. So any agreement on that, sir?
Yeah, actually, we have also disclosed in our notes also last time that we are now charging Kochi tariff at the level of 79.14 per MMBTU. And now, earlier it was 104.54. So it has come down to 79.14 in the previous quarter itself, means Q4. And similar tariff is being charged now. But we are in discussion with those companies, off-takers, BPCL, GAIL and IOCL. And as soon as there is any agreement reached, we may revise it. But of course, we would like to retain it at this level only, 79.14. Because this is the right level, and at this level, there is no impairment of the asset also.
Right. And would it follow a similar model like Dahej with a 5% escalation every year?
Yeah, that is being followed. This is as per contract. We are following 5% hike every year. We are doing it.
So we can take 17 as a new base, and from which there will be a revision of 5% every year.
Yeah, it's now 83.10 per MMBTU. So this is now at current year. This is 79.14 was from 1/4/2019. So 1/4/2020 it will be 83.10 per MMBTU.
Right. Secondly, sir, any update on Tellurium deal? You heard a lot of media reports, and apparently they quoted you extended the MOU.
Something I would not like to discuss right now. So just excuse me for not replying this question, because it's something which cannot be disclosed in the press as such. There are certain issues we cannot discuss this issue openly.
Okay. Fine, sir. That would be it. Thanks a lot, sir, for this.
Thank you. We have next question from the line of Probal Sen from Centrum Broking. Please go ahead.
Good morning, sir. Thank you for the opportunity. Sir, just you mentioned about the Ind AS impact as well as the CSR expense. So the CSR expense was probably sitting in the other expenditure line, if I'm correct. So that impact is easy to see. And the Ind AS impact would have reflected in which line item, sir, in the P&L?
The Ind AS impact, like the forex losses, will come in the other expenses. And if there is any forex gain, that will come in the other income. And this is as far as the forex is concerned. And as far as the core Ind AS impact is there, basically the impact will be, there will be less expenditure in the COGS, and that expenditure will come to the the depreciation and interest, finance charges.
So this 170 crore benefit, is it possible to break it down in terms of each line item?
See, there was a 178 crore loss in the last quarter. That is not there in this quarter. Basically, that was there in the other expenses. And in the other expenses, there were another thing was this 100 crore of CSR. That is not there this quarter. And there was a 31 crore of inventory loss that was in the COGS, basically. These are the three major factors that are not there in this quarter, basically.
Okay, so there's a 310 million inventory loss also, instead of which it's negligible or there's a gain in this quarter. Is it fair to assume that?
Yes, and there's a volume. The volume impact is around 130 crores at the COGS level, basically. Downward impact. So these are the major highlights, basically, in the P&L.
Okay. And the second question was, sir, it was mentioned that the current utilization of the Dahej is at 104% and Kochi 17 to 19%. Is that is that current number, or is that something that is an average number for Q2 till date that we can assume?
No, this is the existing throughput which is going on.
Right,
and
sir.
What I am telling you that based on this, we can assume that this will continue up to this end of the quarter till September. So even today it was 66 MMSCMD throughput. So what I am saying that it is in the range of sometimes 64, 65, 66. So this is the range. So it's more than 100%. Maybe 104, 103, 102, like that.
Got it. So yeah, I mean for Q2, therefore, sir, we can on an average assume close to 100%, even
close
if on
a
gradual build-up.
Right? Right. Absolutely.
Right. And sir, last question, I'm sorry to again repeat. On Tellurian, I understand you can't comment. Can you at least comment whether the deal has been cancelled or is it still alive or not, or you can't comment on that also?
Excuse me. Basically, there is an MOU which is valid till December end.
Got it, sir.
We can
Got
only
it.
tell this much. So I think that's enough.
Yeah, that's right. I just wanted to understand that the deal is not, I mean, the MOU is still alive and negotiations are ongoing. That's my interpretation. Right?
So, unless regulatory requirement is there. So, it's not to be, because we are not supposed to speak on this matter, I'm telling you, because this is something very confidential.
Sure.
Please just excuse us for not replying to this question.
Got it, sir.
Please
Sorry to
don't
bother
quote
you.
this anywhere.
That is good enough.
Mr. Sharma, G.K. Sharma ji has
This
told,
is unofficially. It is
unofficial
not to be
is
quoted.
there, not to be quoted anywhere in the press.
Got it.
We are not supposed to speak on this matter.
Okay.
So this is.
Sure, sir. I appreciate
whatever will be there, anything which is really concrete and really going for any fruitful business scenario discussion, disclosed. There is nothing like that. That's what I want to say. It's all just talking. We are just in discussion with them. So this is all going on. It's a general business scenario that we are talking to so many people. We are also talking to next decade. We are also talking to other suppliers. So it doesn't mean there is any fruitful deal coming in the scenario. So I don't see any substantial thing happening over there. So if there is anything which will impact the investors, we will definitely come to you. Absolutely, there will not be a hush-hush deal like that.
Got it, sir. Thank you so much.
Anticipating and just guessing and doing something, so that is not good for us.
Right.
And rest be assured that we will not enter into any deal which is not beneficial to investors of PLL.
Great, sir. Good to hear that, sir. Congratulations and thank you for your time.
Thank you.
Thank you, sir. We have next question from the line of Rishit Sitawala from Matsya Capital. Please go ahead.
Hi, thanks for taking my question. Could you all please elaborate the impact of Ind AS on COGS as well as depreciation and fixed costs? So can you break it down for us, please?
Yeah, this quarter, due to the Ind AS, the COGS has gone down by 101 crores. and the net impact on the PBT at the PBT level after taking into account the depreciation and finance charges, it is 68 crores down.
Okay, thank you. And could you all please break up the impact on depreciation as well as finance charges?
Depreciation is 194 crores. Out of that, 84 crores was there, and is the Ind AS impact, and 87 crores is the Ind AS impact, and finance cost is 88 crores. Out of that, 84 crores is the Ind AS impact.
Okay, thank you. And my next question would be around the employee costs. So they are significantly higher than last year. So is there any one-off item over there?
These are one-off. There are one-off items like 5 crores of one-off items was there, because in the first quarter generally claims like LTA and leave encashment, those come generally as a trend. And the other 2 crores are attributable to the salary increase and all.
Okay, thank you.
Thank you, sir. We have next question from the line of Bhavin Gandhi from B&K Securities. Please go ahead.
So thank you for taking my question. So just wanted to again, the gross margin per unit as per my calculation seems like 55.1. If I look at it from 3Q to now, there seems to be no change there despite 5% escalation in Dahej from January and 5% for Kochi. So if you can explain that part.
At the gross margin level?
Per unit gross margin.
Yeah. So you were saying that from Q3, basically there is no change in the gross margin.
Yeah, it seems lower in fact.
Okay, just let us, we'll answer this question. Just let us park this question for now. During this question, we'll answer that.
Yeah. And sir, the second question is relating to the Kochi tariff itself. They mentioned 79.14, at which there will be no impairment for the asset. So is it possible to know what is the utilization over life that you are assuming, where you are saying there will be no impairment? Are you assuming a 40% utilization or a higher utilization there in your calculations?
Its impairment model is basically tested over a period of time of the life of asset. So what we are doing, that whatever volumes we have contracted for a long term, 20 years, we are taking the volumes, and as you all know that Gorgon volumes are proposed to be brought to that place only, Kochi terminal only. It's only for the time being that some of the cargoes we are taking at Dahej because of pipeline constraints. But as soon as the pipelines are laid, like Kochi-Mangalore is coming up by the end of August, it should have come by July. But because of some issues in Chandragiri River, HDD issues are there. And yesterday I was in a board meeting where GAIL CMD has said that there are issues in SDD because some rocky terrain is there. So it's not very easy to just do some HDD through that. So there are issues because of that. It is being delayed, but we are still hoping by end of August it should come up. And then certainly the utilization will enhance to the level of 30%, 35%. So this is our anticipation, and we hope that gradually this utilization will increase and we will be having profit even from that terminal like we are having in Dahej. And right now we have operating profit but not profit as such in terminal, Kochi terminal. So this
sure, sure, sir. And just one last thing from my end, sir. On the Kochi tariff, as far as the reporting in the gross margins are concerned, sir, are we booked in the last year? It was booked at 79 or 104 number, and then the provisions were created in other expenses. How was it booked in last year, sir?
Last year it was 79 only, because whatever adjustment was to be made was made in the last quarter. Even in the before that quarter also, we had made the provision for that.
Sure.
We had not reduced as such the tariff and the revenue.
Your call has been put on hold. Please stay on the line. आपकी कॉल होल्ड पर है. कृपया प्रतीक्षा कीजिए. Your call has been put.
Sorry, sir. Please go ahead.
Yeah, it's only 79.14 throughout the year. So there is no issue.
Okay. All right. Thank you so much.
Thank you. We have next question from the line of Pinakin Parekh from JP Morgan. Please go ahead.
Thank you very much, sir. So 3 quick questions. My first is, sir, the other expenditure has been a volatile line item over the last few quarters. And if we take 101 crores versus we keep 4Q out, but the average of the preceding 6 to 7 quarters has been between 120 to 140 crores. So is the 101 crores is the new steady state other expenditure, or we should revert back to that 120, 130 crore quarterly run rate that we used to see in F19 and F20?
Pinakin, you are asking about this the index adjustment. Other expenditure.
No, so the total other expenditure of 101 crores that is there, how should we take this as a steady state? Once this India's adjustments and everything is out, is 100 crores a normal run rate, or can it go up to 130, 140 crores?
You see, basically, yes, we are giving you the details, 101 crore, what's there. See, the other expenses, basically, there are certain expenses which are directly proportional to the plant utilization. Okay. So, expenses like the power and fuel, dredging, repairs and maintenance, all these things are there. So, what we have seen that due to this one-off COVID impact this time around, this quarter, the other expenses have gone down by few notches, like due to the power and fuel expenses going down, and there is nothing disproportional about that. Everything as per the operational standard. So what we can say is the other expenses have gone down by around 50 to 60 crores basically.
Okay. Understood very much. So my second question is, when I look at the volume breakup in Dahej, the long-term volumes are down 18% Q on Q, but the service volumes are down only 5%. And given that spot LNG prices, while having recovered, still remain stubbornly below $3 MMBTU, while Brent link contracts are near $6 MMBTU. How should we look at the RasGas volumes over the next 2 quarters? Because I would assume there will be a certain volume which would need to be fixed for this year. And should we then expect that the long-term volumes will sharply surge over the remainder of the year?
Basically, if you see, as such, we don't see any impact on the long-term volumes, and there is a full consumption. There is no impact seen or likely to be seen in near future.
So, just I would like to add to it that if you look at the cargoes which we have received in the month of July, it has been whatever we have planned, 23 cargoes, they have already come here. So what I am saying that there is no impact as such while uplifting all those volumes in this quarter, but there has been downward trend in the previous quarter, in the current quarter, means Q1, because we have also invoked force majeure clause for 9 of the cargoes, 8 out of which belong to RasGas and 1 belong to ExxonMobil. So this is the kind of scenario. But in this quarter, we have not seen any invoking of force majeure clause for any cargo. So we assume that whatever we have planned, we will bring all the cargoes to our terminal.
Understood, sir. Thank you very much. And sir, just last question. There was some media reports that Petronet is exploiting tenders to import 1 million tons of LNG at different price points, and then that tender was cancelled or reissued. So what's the thought process of that in terms of diversifying its sourcing, and where do we stand in terms of the process of locking in new supplies?
Yeah, actually, this was a RFI process, request for information process. This was not exactly a tender. So what we were doing, we were exploring the market for availability of natural gas at a reasonable price, affordable price. So this was a process whereby we have appointed a consultant who just did the work on our behalf. And we found that in the market, people are ready to place the volumes and they are not worried about the price, in the sense that they are ready to contract for a long-term period at a price which is as good as spot price. So what I want to say, that scenario is changing now. It's not like that long-term contract which will be based on some Brent-based index. So now people are ready to place the volume for long-term, and they are ready to get the price whatever is applicable in the daily market every day. So what I am saying, that this was a simply R&D activity, you can say research and development. We are trying to explore, and in the future we may process this kind of thing, and we may go for some volume for procuring this LNG on long-term basis at a spot price. This is our thought process. That's why we have just awarded a contract to a consultant. And it has come to our knowledge that people are ready to place the volume. They are not bothered what is the price, because now what's happening, the availability of gas is there, plenty of gas is available, and customers are not there for long-term contract. So most of the volume which is not contracted is going in the spot market. So what I am saying, that whatever long-term contract they get, at least they are assured of placing their volume to the period, say 10 years, 15 years, so that they are assured that that volume is sold. So people are worried about placing the volume. That's why they are ready to get the price, whatever is available on a spot basis, daily basis. So that was just an activity we have undertaken, and we have not so far decided how to go forward, but this is the outcome of the process.
Understood, sir. But just to clarify, will Petronet historically works on a back-to-back model? So if there is any progress on this, will Petronet start taking price risk on its books, or will it enter this kind of contracts only when there is a back-to-back offtake agreement with customers in India?
See, it's not an issue. When I am getting a gas on a spot price basis, anybody would contract with us back-to-back. Okay. Whatever price is there, of course, in this case, we will also earn some trading margin, marketing margin. But certainly anybody will be happy to get gas at the spot prices. If you look at the spot price, which is ranging from $2 to now it is $3.5, almost $3.65. So this is the scenario, because people are worried about higher priced gas. But once anybody is offering at spot prices, they are ready to take it. So we are pretty confident that whatever volume we procure, if it is at the spot price or daily marker, then we will be able to place it in the market, and anybody will take it, because it is based on the daily pricing of the LNG.
So, sir, it won't have any implications for the RasGas contract, which is high priced, as you said, in terms of that. That will be separate.
Those volumes will not be already back to back. We are selling it. It is done long back. So we cannot compare a thing which is done almost 17 years back. Now it is almost on the verge of completion. Possible we'll think of it, but we are trying to bridge the gap between this long-term prices and the spot prices.
Thank you very much, sir, for this detailed explanation. Thank you.
Thank you, sir. We have next question from the line of Yogesh Patil from Reliance Securities. Please go ahead.
Thanks for taking my question, sir. My question is related to RasGas LNG price negotiation. Negotiations are still on, and if yes, then any timeline when we can expect output or result on these negotiations? This is my first question.
This is not actually, this is at a very premature stage. We cannot comment on these things because this impact our discussions. So we are not going to comment on this question. Because whenever there is anything material happening, we will disclose you.
Okay, sir. Okay, sir.
And is not good to talk about.
Okay, sir. Thanks for clarity. And the second question is related to your LNG dispensing station expansion program. As per our understanding, you would be able to benefit only from the charging marketing margins on LNG fuel. So any ballpark number you have back calculated for charging a minimum marketing margins on this fuel?
See, I can just little bit amend your question as well as answer also. It's not only marketing margin. When the LNG is being consumed, we earn truck loading charges also. So, as and when this market takes up, then Petronet LNG truck loading charges also earn additional revenue and profit for company and asset utilization. And marketing margin, because it's a commercially sensitive thing, we are still in a multiple discussions and all that. This is not something that at this stage we can disclose those numbers or something. But we can promise you this is going to be a next big leap business segment for Petronet LNG.
Okay, and sir, last question from my side. Sir, can you give us a guidance how many stations you have planned for next 2 to 3 quarters?
See, we are in talk, we are facilitating, you must have seen our advertisement. What we are doing, we are facilitating this stations to come up by authorized CGD entities and OMCs. And you know, permission and land and everything, it takes some time. If I say in next 2-3 quarters something will come up and start dispensing, it is unrealistic. But things are progressing in a very fast pace. And even we are happy to say that it is a focus area of now PSUs as well as CGD entities. And we are facilitating them very fast.
Thanks a lot, sir.
Thank you, sir. We have next question from the line of Maulik Patel from Equirus Securities. Please go ahead.
Yeah, thanks for the opportunity. So can you explain how the supply demand on spot LNG and what's the outlook on the price, and how do you see that where the demand is, incremental demand is coming up in the Indian market?
So as far as demand is concerned, I am sure you would have had a look at CPSE numbers. So you would have seen at the low LNG prices when spot prices were $2 or so, a lot of consumption was going into power sector. Going forward also the spot prices are expected to remain low, and there is a coal displacement which we mentioned in the previous call also, which is happening. Other than that, there is a regular growth in the other industries and the CGD sector which is taking place. Of course, fertilizer, refinery sectors continue to be at the pace which they were there in the last year or so.
Do you expect this in coming winter, where the price of the spot LNG generally goes to around 10 to 12% of the oil price in last 2-3 years? Will it reach to that level, or it will probably significantly
Very difficult to give any number on what the prices would be, but yes, there is a lot of supply in the market. Right now, a number of US plants are not producing because it was not viable for them to produce at $2 level. But since the LNG prices are inching upwards and are touching $3.5 to $4, they will also start producing. So on an overall basis, it is not expected that the prices will go to $8-9 level. It should remain in the $5 level, and that is what is being projected in the Platts also.
Great. Thanks.
Thank you, sir. We have next question from the line of Vineet Joshi from Goldman Sachs. Please go ahead.
Hi. Thanks a lot for taking my question, sir. So my first question is on the CAPEX side. So it's a two-part question. First, can you give us the guidance for FY21 and 22? And second, can you tell us a bit more granularity with respect to the, what is the CAPEX requirement for the tanks and for the jetties? And finally, any update on the, new projects that you're looking at, whether it be Sri Lanka or the third LNG terminal in India?
As far as the CAPEX is concerned for 2021, it should be in the range of 348 crores. So this is how we are planning this year. But in future, we have a lot of CAPEX plans. Like we are also envisaging to have 2 more tanks in the Dahej, 7th and 8th tank. So it will be in the range of 1200 crores, 600 each tank. And if you look at the jetty which we are proposing to have at the Dahej, third jetty, it will be having CAPEX of around 1300 crores. So this is a future plan for CAPEX. Apart from that, we are also looking forward, as you have rightly said, we are looking forward to our Sri Lanka project also, and we are in discussion with them, and let us see what happens. But if that materializes, then project is of around $300 million. So that will be the kind of capex which will be there in future. But right now, as of now, I have told you this is the all capex plan we have: 2 tanks, 1 jetty, and capex plan for the year 348 crores.
So this 348 crore, it would probably not include anything with respect to the tanks and jetties. So should we assume that tank and jetty expenditure will happen over the next 2-3 years gradually?
I think some part of capex is there because we have already invited tender and open tender yesterday only.
Okay.
So likely to award this, so maybe some 50 crore, 100 crore may be paid this year also. But
okay.
This is a project for 3 years. It takes around 3 years, 39 months. So it will be taking 3 years to spend all that amount. But this year also there is certainly some expenditure initially.
All right. And just one last question, sir. Can you just give us the service fee or the regas income for the quarter and last year?
The regas income.
Yeah, the regas income was 500 crores for this quarter. And the last quarter it was last quarter it was 523 crores, and corresponding it was 550.
Okay, thanks a lot, sir.
Thank you, sir. We have next question from the line of Manikantha Gare from Axis Capital. Please go ahead.
Yeah, hi. Thanks for providing me the opportunity, sir. Just wanted to check, what is the capex done in Q1 out of the 348 crores?
This is actually very Q1 is already expired, so I don't think any major expenditure has been incurred. But normally capex is not seen in quarterly basis, on quarterly basis. Normally we see on annual basis how much capex is there. So it may vary because project, as you very well know, that in first quarter there was a lot of shortage of labor, material, everything was difficult. So maybe that much capex may not have been done. But in second quarter, third quarter, of course, we will pick up it, and certainly some more expenditure will be there in second quarter. So it's not specified for first quarter.
Okay, sure, sir. And the second question would be, if you can please provide an update on the Gorgon LNG, what's happening there with respect to the train 2, which is under maintenance, which was under maintenance, and it is now deferred to September, I guess, for the startup, which is one of the main reasons for the surge in spot LNG prices. Can you please provide any update or any color with respect to that?
We also read media as you do, but nonetheless, in the contract there is a provision that the supplier can supply from elsewhere. So that's what will likely happen. That in fact currently also we get a lot of cargoes from Abu Dhabi or Oman under the Exxon SPA. So that may continue in future also because it has a right to supply from alternate sources. So that should not impact our contract per se. But yes, you are right. Right now train 2 was under maintenance because there was some issue with the propane kettles. And now Australian government has also issued a mandate that they will be checking train 1 and 3 also. So the plant may be out till September end. That's what the media report says, and you are absolutely right. That's one of the reasons why the spot prices are moving upward. In fact, when I am seeing today, JKM is being around 418 for October. That's all I would say.
So just one related question here. The sense that I'm getting here is that there is a possibility of train 1 and train 3 also, probably facing similar design issues. Are you hearing or sensing something of that sort or no?
The operator of the facilities is Chevron, and Exxon has told us, we are in touch with Exxon on this subject, and what they have told us, as of now there is no impact on the scheduled cargoes of Petronet.
Sure, sir. And if I can squeeze in a last question here. Last quarter you mentioned that the force measures that you have raised on 9 cargoes, the operators are yet to agree on them. If you can please provide an update on the same.
The discussions are continuing on that. That's all at this point of time we can say. Nothing has been concluded as yet.
If you can check on that, what is dragging the discussions here? What is the mood point here mainly? If you can.
So we would not like to detail. We can just give you an update. So as of now, it has not reached the conclusion.
Understand, sir. Thank you.
Thank you, sir. We have next question from the line of Sagar Sanghvi from JP Morgan. Please go ahead.
Thank you for taking my question. After question first, if you could just provide an update on the Bangladesh project. In the annual report, you mentioned that you submitted an expression of interest. So is this through the bidding process? Because I was under the impression we were more interested in a one-on-one discussion. So any updates here first?
Yeah, you have very rightly said that this was in the tendering stage only. We had given expression of interest, but so far nothing has happened, and because they are inviting tenders, so it could be anybody's game. Earlier we said that this will be a G2G contract and will be awarded that contract. That's not happening. So it's we are keeping our fingers crossed. We don't know whether we will get that or not. There are so many contenders for the bid. So
Okay.
at this stage, nothing more can be said.
Understood. Okay. And the other question on Kochi, you mentioned that after August, once the pipeline is done, maybe we'll reach our utilization to 30-35%. So how long does that generally take? Will it happen within few quarters?
By end of this financial year, it should happen.
By end of this financial year. And just to confirm, we are already, since this April, we are already booking at 83 rupees, right?
Right.
That's what.
Okay. All right. Thank you for confirming. And that's all from my end.
Thank you. So we have next question from the line of S. Ramesh from Nirmal Bang. Please go ahead.
Good morning, and thank you very much. See, if you look at the current run rate, will you be able to deliver the same volume as the second quarter last year? Last year you did 250 trillion BTU. So, or will it be slightly lower than that?
It's very difficult to give an exact number, but as we mentioned that we are running at 100% rate or more than 100% many a times. So hopefully on that trend, it should be closer to the last year same quarter.
Okay. So, in terms of the Kochi, economics, is it possible to share the updated capital cost, and out of your total employee and other expenses, what proportion goes to the Kochi terminal?
See, we do not publish the Kochi results as a segment, different segment. So it is not possible to disclose that.
Yeah, but is it possible to give, what is the proportion of capital employed in Kochi as a percentage of the total?
No, we can't.
Okay. So if you're looking at the current demand outlook, we saw some increase in refining segment and some increase in the city gas segment. But is there a similar trend of growth in the power sector because of the low gas cost, and would you expect that to continue?
It is much more than that. It is much more than that. If you see, in the recovery, major part of that has come from power sector. Apart from other sectors have also started consuming at full.
Okay.
Last quarter, gas consumption was probably the last month, June. Probably the highest ever in the country. That's what I would say.
Power sector.
Total.
Okay. So if you go back to the Kochi tariffs, if you were to do a long-term cash flow model on this 83 rupees for this year, is it possible to assume a 5% annual escalation every year, sir, for the next 10-15 years to take the life of the asset?
This is as per the contract. So what we are following is given in the contract itself.
Yeah. So there is a 5% annual escalation. Okay. Thank you very much.
Annual escalation.
Thank you, sir. We have next question from the line of Amit Rustagi from UBS Securities. Please go ahead.
Thank you, sir, for taking my question. Sir, could you elaborate about our East Coast LNG terminal in India, and what will be the model we will be looking at for it? Are we going to pre-book the capacity like our earlier terminal, or even if we don't get the customers or long-term contracts, we will still go ahead with the terminal?
This question is very difficult. We are going for the terminal, and we will try to tie up even before that. But capacity 100% it will be booked, we cannot assure you. But certainly some benchmarking will be there, 30%, 20% capacity shall be booked, so that at least there is a minimum load over there. So we are trying for that. But nothing can be said at this stage. And we would like to have at least 30% capacity to be booked beforehand, so that there is an assurance in future there will be utilization of that plant.
And sir, what will be the status of pipelines around that terminal?
That is there, because if you look at, there is a pipeline, Angul-Srikakulam pipeline, which is there. From there, tap-off will be around 20 kilometers only to this Gopalpur terminal. So we are awaiting that pipeline is laid, because work is already going on. Work has been awarded by GAIL. So once that pipeline is laid, then distance will be hardly 20 kilometers from that place. So that pipeline we may have to lay.
And so we would be another terminal on this Urja Ganga project, because Urja Ganga project already has...
Our intention is to have one terminal at least on the east coast, because east coast is a region which is deprived of utilization of gas. But now Urja Ganga pipeline is coming up, so certainly terminals are there, one or two are already there, but we can also have one more terminal. And it can also be utilized over there, because if you look at on the west coast, we have so many terminals. But on east coast, we have only one, this Dhamra, and one is Ennore. But Ennore is extreme south. So we are hopeful that it will be a good investment there.
Okay, thank you, sir. Thanks for taking my question. Thank you.
Thank you. We have next question from the line of Abdul Sabnis from CGS-CIMB Securities. Please go ahead.
Am I audible?
You are, sir.
Yes, Abdul. Yeah.
Yeah. Can I, what would be the Gorgon volumes at Dahej this quarter?
Gorgon volumes at Dahej, 8 to 9 cargoes. 8 cargoes or 9? Around 8 TBTUs.
8 TBTUs?
Yes.
Okay. Okay. And would I be right to assume that if the off-takers, if the producers, RasGas or Gorgon, do not accept the force majeure, then the worst case is that you may have to off-take those 9 cargoes sometime later during the year?
No, this is not the case. Actually, this is as per contract. If you look at force majeure clause, it is very clearly written. It's only a matter of discussion, we are doing it. Otherwise, very clearly, this clause is defined, and any epidemic is happening over there, then we can invoke this clause. So we are quite sure that we have done the right thing. The only thing is that there is another clause where there is a mitigation of the force majeure clause. So we are discussing in future, we may take it and the mitigation clause, and we may take the cargoes in future. But there is no time frame for that when we will be taking it. But at this point of time, what we have done is rightly done and as per the contract.
Okay. So even the worst case is that even if you have to take the 9 cargoes, it may be any time during the sort of validity
during the rest of contract period.
Yeah. Okay. Thank you, sir.
Thank you. We have next question from the line of Vikas Jain from CLSA. Please go ahead.
Hi, thanks for taking my question. Can you just, a bookkeeping one, can you just give me a bridge of OPEX from 1Q last year to 1Q now? It's down about 40 crores. So what really is causing that? I know we've discussed a lot, but I'm a little mixed up on this. So what really is causing the OPEX decline from 1Q to 1Q?
Mostly the impact is the volume impact. There is in the 1Q to 1Q, if you see, last quarter we did about 226 TBTU. As against that, we have done 119 TBTU. Which comes to around 36 TBTU difference, which is about 11 cargoes. Okay. So there are multiple things like there are certain cargo receiving expenses, cargo handling expenses, and the power and fuel because of the low utilization of the plants, and repair and maintenance have also gone down because of this pandemic. Whatever minimum repair and maintenance that was required in the plant, that was done, and dredging expenses are there for handling.
Sure. So it's largely because of lower volume. Basically, large part of it is variable and some
Because of that,
of it
and we
repairs
will
and maintenance.
additionally answer the previous question of the gross margin level. Basically, the only difference happens because at the gross margin level is because of the handling of the spot cargoes and the trading margin thereof. And do not disclose those numbers, but then the only differential at the gross margin level is that.
Similarly, there is also a reasonable change QOQ in I think if I were to look at interest expenses as well as this QOQ I'm talking about, as well as this other income. Other income is down significantly and interest expenses are also down. Is this more to do with the India aspect?
No, other income, you see, it is because of basically the investment income, whatever investment income that we earn, the rate.
Yeah, because your other income is at your 10-quarter low or something like that, if I were to look at that.
Because you have seen that the repo rates have gone down.
Okay, so it's simply because of that. Yeah.
Investment, although the base of cash base is the same, but the investment income has gone down accordingly. And to answer your question regarding the interest and other expenses, we have already answered. And the finance charges and depreciation, as you know, this is the Ind AS impact. If you see the current quarter number, then you have to knock off 87 crores from the depreciation and 84 crores from the finance cost as Ind AS impact.
Okay, understood. Thank you so much.
Thank you, sir. We have next question from the line of Vidyadhar Ginde from ICICI Securities. Please go ahead.
Hello.
Yes, sir. Please go ahead.
Yeah. So my question was that, are you likely to go ahead with a new contract for sourcing LNG only if it is linked to spot LNG, or you might be open to contracts which are even linked to oil or Henry Hub?
See, we are thinking of
आपण कॉल करत असलेल्या एअरटेल नंबरवर आपला कॉल होल्डवर ठेवा.
Hello.
Please go ahead.
Yeah, actually, whatever we have started the process of RFI, this is basically intended to procure the volumes for future, and we are also looking forward to have some contract after 2028. So this is a step towards that. So what we are envisaging that in future, if we get a contract which is reasonably priced and is sensitive to the local index spot prices on day-to-day basis, then that should be a good one for the Indian market. Because if you look at the kind of price now, there is a big gap between spot and long-term price. So that can be bridged now with this kind of contract. So this is our thought process, and let us see, but we have not started so far doing that.
So are you basically saying that you may do more than one contract, one which is spot link and one which is under this RF, or it's just going to be one contract?
Whatever contracts are going on, they are already there. RasGas is there, ExxonMobil is there.
I'm talking of new contract.
Yeah, new contract will be there. Then we will have on this basis only, whereby we can match those prices with the spot price.
कृपया लाइन वर.
Okay.
It will never be more than spot price. It can always be less than that, or maximum spot price. This is the kind of model we are working on.
Okay. And what kind of demand do you see for spot price kind of link contract?
Small
on a
scale.
sustainable basis?
As we have already invoked this sector, and we are trying to instigate all the OMCs as well as CGDs. And we have an advertisement, as our VP Marketing told. So this is the thought process, that this is a new segment which is coming up, and it has a potential of 7 to 8 MMTPA in future if it is successful. So
okay. What kind of time frame?
Fueled by LNG, this is going to be a big sector in itself, a big segment. So what we are envisaging, that this can be utilized over there, Moreover, the CGDs are coming up. A lot of pipelines will be laid in the next 5 years. So we hope that the consumption will substantially increase in CGDs also. So volume will be coming in that sector also. So I think there is a ample scope for future for growth of LNG, and we are doing it in that direction only.
So are you basically saying that you will go with the supplier who is going to supply at close to similar to spot LNG?
What I am saying is that we will be doing long-term contract with the supplier who is offering the price at a formula which is never more than a spot price on West India basis or JKM basis.
So which in a way is your answer to the Tellurian question also, or any other supplier? This is the benchmark they have to meet.
This is not what I have said. This is your
I'm asking you.
Guess which you are doing.
No, what I'm only saying is that this will give a lot of comfort to investors if you say that any contract you enter into with anyone
I
will
am
be
very
similar to
confident
spot.
because there is no meaning of any long-term contract which is not matching with the spot prices now at least.
Second question is on this Kochi regas charge change decision. When do we expect finally this issue to be completely, either way, whatever decision is taken, because you had said it was referred to a committee of independent directors. When do you expect a final decision on this?
This quarter, second quarter, it should be over, whatever is there.
Okay, and lastly, this East Coast terminal, what is the kind of timeline you are looking for?
Timeline for?
East Coast terminal.
East Coast terminal. It is actually, we are still in planning stage and we have to take the proposal to our board. And once that proposal is approved, then only we will do it. But of course, we have a lot of hopes. We should be taking some decision. Maybe in the next 6 months, it should be there. Whatever we want.
Okay, thanks a lot.
Thank you, sir. Ladies and gentlemen, that was the last question. I would now like to hand the conference over to Mr. Varatharajan Sivasankaran from Systematics Institutional Equities for closing comments. Over to you, sir.
Thank you, Vikram. Thanks all the participants for taking time out to attend the call. Thank you, the management, for giving us an opportunity to hold this call. Thanks again. Have a nice day.
Thank you very much.
Thank you.
Thank you very much, sir. Ladies and gentlemen, on behalf of Systematics Institutional Equities, that concludes this conference call. Thank you for joining with us, and you may now disconnect your lines.
Thank you.